You were a star child, let your light shine for all the world. When you open your mouth to reveal a pearl, let it shine more, just to light the path. If it don't add up, man, just do the math. If it ain't for you, let it pass on through.
How you doing? This is Terrion Wilson, aka yo boy, Brotha T, here with another one. So we like to call this channel T's Life Tree. And on this channel, we like to drop pine cones of wisdom. If you don't know what that is, stick around, stay on the channel, you'll get it. Before we get into it, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to like, I need you to subscribe. Because when you like and subscribe, then we can continue to give you those pine cones of wisdom. Because I know you love them, and I know you love your man, Brotha T. That's why you keep coming back, right? So let's get into it. So today we're going to talk about energy. We're going to talk about masculine energy. We're going to talk about feminine energy. Might not be exactly what you might be thinking. Some of you out there know what I'm about to say. Some of you don't. Okay, so I'm more talking to the people that really don't know what I'm saying. When I say masculine and feminine energy, I'm not necessarily talking about gender. Okay, I'm not necessarily talking about male and female. That's confusing, Brotha T. Talk to me. Okay, I'm going to talk to you. Now, those that already know, then, you know, you can fast forward or you can stay on here and just get brushed up on it. But when I'm saying when I'm saying masculine and feminine energy, I'm talking about the actual energy. Each one of you, and me included, we're both made up of masculine and feminine energy. We both have the potential. So what happens? What happens is, if you are of the male gender, naturally you embrace more of the masculine energy, okay? And if you are of the female gender, you naturally embrace more of the feminine energy. But each one of us need both energies to survive. I'm sorry, super hyper masculine dudes, you do have feminine energies. Okay, you just don't embrace a lot of it. So what are masculine energies? What are feminine energies? Let's get into them. We're going to talk about the qualities that each one has. We're also going to talk about when it's at its most natural, okay? The traits that come out when you're in your natural masculine, your natural feminine. And then we're going to talk about the wounded aspects, masculine versus feminine energy. All right, so we're going to start off with the masculine. What are some of the overall energy that the masculine is supposed to exude? How about, this is projective energy, okay? Active, get up and go. It's a giving energy. It's expansive. It's outward energy. And when I say expansive and outward and active, those are kind of general, but the get up and go, when you get up and you're building a civilization, you're more in your masculine energy, believe it or not. You can disagree with it all you want, but it's the truth. I have to give it to you. Now those are general overall traits. Now let's explore the natural side versus the wounded side. Now, when you're in your natural masculine energy, now I am going to get a little bit into gender, okay? So let's look at a male that's in his natural masculine energy, okay? That he's going to exude confidence. We're not talking about being narcissistic, being the a-hole. We're talking about just pure confidence, knowing that you have the ability to do the things that you're setting out to do. Protection. He's going to protect the people around him. He's going to be a protector. He's also going to have that inner strength. He's not going to walk around with a lack of confidence, and he's not going to always be insecure. He's going to be logical, all right? Especially in his thinking, all right? Is everything they thinking, he's going to try to stay logical on most things. All right, he's going to be disciplined. When you find guys that when they get upset and they get too upset, they get over upset and they get upset too quick without dissecting the actual situation, they're actually not in their natural masculine energy. All right, so he's going to have a sense of direction. All right, and some of you ladies will identify with this, and you're probably amening me at home, right? If you meet a guy and he doesn't have a sense of direction, even if you don't like the direction, if he does not have a sense of direction at all, he's going to be all over the place. He's not in his natural masculine. All right, and he's also going to be assertive. That means when it's time to take control, when it's time to take the reins and be that man he's supposed to be, he's there for it. He's living for it. And sometimes you might be looking past somebody that has that ability. All right. He'll show itself when the time comes. All right. So with all that said, let's talk about wounded masculine. So when you have somebody of the male gender that's in their wounded masculine energy, they're going to be a perpetrator, right? You're going to see they're going to be fake. They're going to try to show things outwardly as well. So unfortunately, a lot of the female gender, they get caught in this because some guys perpetrate and they're fake and they show their worth on the outside. And sometimes that causes some of the female gender, especially if they're in their wounded feminine, to be attracted to that first. Okay. That's not the first thing you're supposed to look for. He's going to be confrontational. All right. Every time you bring up something he doesn't like, or if something doesn't go his way, he's always going to be trying to start a fight, trying to jump to start a fight. Some of you know some of these people, they're in their wounded masculine energy. All right, so they're going to abuse their power. This comes across in abusive situations, abusive marriages, abusive relationships. They're going to try to assert their dominance. So it's a difference between a man that takes charge and a man that's trying to dominate. It's a difference. Okay, you can take charge without dominating. Sometimes the best way to lead is to delegate and put everybody in a position where they can do the best job possible. That's the real way to lead, not to remind them over and over again that I'm your lord and I'm the master and you're the slave. You're not supposed to do that necessarily. Okay, so the next thing you'll see from a wounded masculine: aggression, super hyper aggression. They can't handle the day-to-day pressures of life. Okay, everybody's gonna have day-to-day pressures, and every now and then a man will feel the pressure of the world on him. So he's not going to be 100%. He's not a robot. So he's going to feel those pressures every now and then, even the ones that are in their natural masculine. But being a man is taking those pressures. You might be down for a day, but the next day you get up, go at it to attack it, shut the world down. Wounded masculine, you're always going to feel this way. So you're going to find avoidance. So they won't want to work on themselves. They're going to try to avoid any type of serious situation at all. They're going to try to control. Now, once again, taking charge and being controlling, two different things. If something is not benefiting the household, the situation, the relationship, the marriage, you are supposed to point that out, and you are supposed to get things on track toward the right direction if you want to be an effective husband, okay, and be in your natural masculine. But once you go to a point where you're being controlling, like your wife or your girlfriend can't go out at all without you knowing where they are, and you're following them, you're popping up places, where they're supposed to be. Once you get into all that, you're in your wounded masculine. So that was pretty cool. I know it was a long list, but a lot of you out there needed to know some of this information. Now, let's go ahead, flip the script. Okay, I'm sorry, ladies, it's coming. I'm going to have to talk about your feminine, being in your natural feminine, and then we're going to talk about the wounded feminine. So let's go. So what's overall natural traits of feminine? Being receptive, okay? Now, also being passive. So remember when I said earlier, the first two things I put up for masculine was projective and active. The first two here is receptive, passive. What does this mean in your everyday life? How can I give you an example of both sides? Okay, look at a battery. Just take a look at it. Pick up a battery. If you have a battery near you, I want you to pick it up and take a look. You're going to see a plus and a minus. Okay, the plus is the positive side of the battery. The minus is the negative side. I'm not saying any gender is positive or negative. I'm just giving you an example. So the positive, the battery can't work without either one of those sides. Okay. And some would even argue that the negative side is the most powerful side. Actually, it regulates the power that comes from the plus side. And you can actually translate that to the man and woman thing. But we'll get into that later. All right. So take a look at that battery. You have plus, you have negative. You need both sides to work. And I want you to look at that plus side as that projective, active side. And I want you to look at that minus side as the receptive, passive. You need both sides for that battery to work well. In other words, you need both sides to make this male and female thing work. That's my whole point to this video. Okay, let's get back into it. The feminine is also intuitive, naturally intuitive. Some people call it woman's intuition. This is a real thing. If you're tapped into it, if you're in your natural feminine, you will be intuitive. You will feel things, and you'll being more inward. Okay, it's also a feminine trait. These are overall traits. Now, let's get to our natural feminine. Okay, when you have somebody of the female gender who is in their natural feminine, you're going to get that unconditional love. You're going to get that stillness. Okay, they're not going to argue with you. So if you are a lady out there and you love to argue with men, you're not in your natural feminine, believe it or not. You can get mad at me all you want. I'm just trying to give you the knowledge. Okay, so it's going to come with understanding, flow, and nurturing naturally. Some of you out there already knew that the female gender is naturally more nurturing when they're in their natural feminine. All right, radiance. All right, this is that beauty, right? Of course, a lot of you ladies, you know beautiful men, beautiful to you at least, but there's something about a woman, and there's something about a woman that's in her natural feminine. And this is for the fellas now. Fellas out there like, woo, 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 woo. Yeah, keep talking. Go ahead. Give them to him, Brother T. That's right. When a woman's in her natural feminine, there's nothing better than that. It radiates, it goes through your soul, and it attracts us actually when we're in our natural masculine. Okay, it attracts us to you. We don't know why. We're like, man, there's something about that one. Something about her. I don't know what it is. All right, let's get back on track. All right, tenderness. Tenderness is a big thing when you're in your natural feminine. Now, you don't want to be too hard if you're of the female gender. If you were too hard and you're always too hard, you're probably not in your natural feminine. All right, surrender. All right, unfortunately, a lot of you ladies out there are not going to like me saying that, but surrendering is part of the process, especially when you have a man that can naturally lead and take charge of a situation and get everything on track for the family. All right, kindness. All right, sensitivity. We already talked about intuition and emotions, right? Emotional. So a lot of those are, and a lot of you ladies are watching right now and saying, duh, but you have to think about it. You kind of knew a lot of those, but at the same time, are you living all of those? If you aren't, then maybe you aren't in your natural feminine. Not trying to disrespect you. Remember, both genders have both, all right? So even your male gender, we have masculine and feminine energies. We want to embrace masculine energy more. Now, what's an example of a man being in his feminine energy? If something happens and his wife is really hurt and she's crying, the man walks in, he hugs her. It's okay, baby. He embraces his feminine energy to do that. If he's too far in his masculine, he's going to walk right past her. Okay, so that's an example for those that don't think I know what I'm talking about, and vice versa. Let's say a guy's having a bad day and he just wants his wife just to be there. He's not all the time, he's not going to cry a lot, but if he's feeling depression, he's like, man, today was a rough day. Like, and he's not sitting in it, he's not going to let it affect him for long, but sometimes you have those days, right? And then your wife she doesn't want to hear it at all. She's like, whatever, you need to do this, do that. I ain't trying to hear what you're trying to say. She's probably embracing too much of her masculine energy. So let's get back on track. All right, so what happens when the female gender are in their wounded masculine energy? What are you going to get? You're going to get neediness. I need this from you. I need that from you. Where are you? You need to call me every hour. Okay, I know you're sleeping with her. What bee's house are you over now? You know what I mean? Neediness. Victim mentality. Unfortunately, and I'm talking to my guys out there, the female gender gets into their victim mentality, that can really do a number on us. So you have to be very careful with that, especially when you're in the selection process and you're trying to find out if this is a person that you can spend a significant amount of time with or marry. You need to know if they're going to be in their victim mentality. How do you figure this out? By watching them. Watch what they do. Watch how they talk about their past relationships. Watch how they talk about their parents. Watch how they talk about anybody in their life that they think did them wrong. Listen to what they say. If they never take accountability, that's one red flag that they might be in the victim mentality. If everybody from the past did them wrong, but they never did anybody else wrong, they've always been the angel in every relationship. And if you're listening and you're of the female gender and you always do this and it's ringing a bell, I need you to look deeper. Fix it. All right. So victim mentality is a big one. Now, manipulation. Oh boy, manipulation. Let me tell you, a lot of this level up culture, and I'm not going to judge you if you watch those platforms. I'm not going to judge you if you watch those YouTubers or content creators that talk about level up. But I want you to keep in mind that a lot of those people that are teaching you those things, notice I didn't say all, a lot of them that are teaching you those things are teaching you to manipulate men, especially men of means, right? Money, to give you what you want without giving what they want. That is a manipulation. Now, it's a fair exchange if you're giving them what they want to get what you want. That's a fair exchange. But if they're telling you to withhold certain things, if they're telling you to lie to get what you want, which one famous YouTuber that got arrested said, they said lie and don't tell the rich man that you have kids until you get engaged. And then once he finds out, if he gets upset, then cry and try to manipulate him into staying with you at that point. That's a manipulation. Be very cautious of this, ladies. Okay. All right. So manipulation, very, very bad. That's wounded feminine energy all day long. Codependency. All right. So you want to work on yourself. You want to become the best version of yourself you can possibly become. If you do that, become the best version of yourself you can possibly become, you do not need to be codependent on another person to feel like you're a whole person. If you get to the point where you're making statements like, I can't live without you, and I don't want to live if you're not here, and I need you for this, and I need you, you're part of my, that's codependent. All right. So get out of that codependency. Okay. That's wounded feminine energy. Powerlessness. All right. I know by virtue of what I'm doing, by virtue of me being a teacher, the way I'm trying to teach, I already know I'm pissing some people off. That's cool. But I have to say it the way I have to say it. I have to be me. This is a deal that I made with the forces that are getting me to do what I'm doing. A deal that I made is that from now until I'm here no more, I need to be me, authentically me, whether people get mad or not. So let's go into the next one. I have to set that up because I know some people are not going to like what I'm about to say. So powerlessness. Sometimes when you listen to so-called feminists speak, sometimes you hear them speak from a place of victim mentality and powerlessness. I'm not saying that there isn't a system. I'm not saying that there isn't a patriarchy out there. First of all, it's not a black male patriarchy. They're keeping us down too. Okay. But I'm not saying that there's not a male patriarchy. What I'm saying is a lot of you that are in your victim mentality and are speaking from a place of powerlessness, you aren't really opening your eyes to some of the advantages that you do have in society. We'll get into that on other videos, and I'll point those out specifically for some of the feminists. Okay. You have more control over this situation than you think. There is even TED Talks where former feminists started doing research trying to prove the male patriarchy and came back like, wow, I don't think we realized how we have it as women sometimes. Okay. So I'm not saying that there's not a male patriarchy. I'm not saying there's not a system that does certain things that kind of keep a little foot on your neck. But what I'm saying is you have the power at times to kind of move that foot off your neck and you stay in that energy. All right. Oversensitive is one of the wounded feminine traits as well. All right. oversensitive. It's okay to be sensitive, especially if you're going to be of the female gender and you're in your natural feminine, because you're going to be emotional at times. So it's okay to be sensitive. Now, when you're oversensitive, especially if another man says anything to you and you're quick to jump, quick to react, quick to fight, quick to do all these things, you're in the wounded feminine energy. All right. And withholding. All right. So this is a big one. All right. When you're in your wounded feminine energy and you're withholding what? Withholding your emotions. When we know that when you're in your natural feminine, you're supposed to be emotional. When you're withholding emotions, you're in your wounded feminine energy. If you're withholding sex in a marriage, and especially if you're withholding sex in a way to manipulate your husband, you are in your wounded feminine. You just don't realize it. You're doing it as a way to punish him for this or that, but actually you're in the wounded feminine energy. Let's wrap it up. Let's give a quick little, or try to give you a quick little summary. It's a weird video, but so I feel like some of you out there really need this so you can get balance, get back to who you were meant to be. So let's give a little synopsis or a little summary of what we talked about today. We talked about masculine and female energy. We talked about the qualities of each, masculine and feminine energy. We talked about being in your natural masculine and what comes with that. We talked about being in your natural feminine and what comes with that. We also talked about when you're in your wounded masculine energy, what comes with that, and being in your wounded feminine energy. And we talked about that. And I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I didn't piss too many people off. I know I pissed off a few of you. It's okay though. Still rock with me. Still watch the other videos, even if you stay pissed off. It's cool. Leave a comment for me in the comment section. I'll try to get to you as soon as I can. I want to take time just to thank you for taking the time to look at this video, because you didn't have to take time out of your day to watch me. And I really enjoy the fact when I see those numbers and I see you guys watching and paying attention to some of this stuff I'm saying. I really enjoy it, and I really love you from the bottom of my heart. This is your man, Brother T, and I'll see you on the next video, family. I'll try to come up with something good for you. Peace.